Hi NARC troopers, and welcome to California, another episode of NARC troopers. And I hope everybody's doing well during these increasingly difficult times. Thank you for being patient with me. I moved cross country from Austin, Texas to beautiful California just last week. I've only been here I think 9 or 10 days now. So I wanted to touch base with you about something that I want us to all think about. And I'll try to keep this short. I'm in the pool at my apartment, and it's 72 degrees right now. So I'm not used to being in the water in such freezingly cold wind and all of that. It's kind of weird, but anyway, I want to talk about how narcissists are a symptom of the current state of the world, and I think that they're a manifestation of the sickness that we have in our world today. And I want to talk about how the female gender in particular is problematic. I listened to an interview that Sam Vaknin did with somebody who was asking him about women's roles and things like that. And the whole interview was somewhat contentious, and there was a lot of bickering back and forth and arguing and stuff. And I thought, wait a second, I idolize this man. I think that he's like just the most knowledgeable expert that there is on narcissism. He's the godfather of narcissism, Sam Vaknin, Dr. Vaknin. But he said some rather inflammatory things that I want to address in relation to the current state of the world. And what that is that he was talking about how women have become men and have assumed the roles of not good men, but of the naughty, misbehaving, immoral, naughty men that have, in the past. And he went on to say that women call it sexual positivity when they can do what they want and feel liberated to have sex with whoever they want to, no strings attached, that they can do whatever they want to do, when they want to do it, with who they want to do it with. They don't have to have relationships. They can do what men used to do and just hook up and then, hit it and quit it and move on. And that is sort of the what a lot of women today call sexual positivity. They call it ethical non-monogamy. They call it polyamory. They call it like a lot of different things, sexual positivity. But really what it is that they have adopted kind of the persona of a man whore. So they dress slutty, and they act slutty, and they hook up in a slutty kind of way, and then they move on to the next relationship. And all this is going to do ultimately is, first of all, instead of being sexually liberated, they are objectifying themselves by actually doing what the men have wanted them to do for generations, and that's just to be whores, to easily hook up with and then hit it and quit it and move on. No attachment, no strings, no responsibility, no obligation, and most importantly, no intimacy. And that was the part that really struck me about his talk. He was arguing with this person who was obviously disagreeing with him, saying that, women are empowered and stuff. And I tend to agree with Sam Vaknin. I think that narcissism is spreading like wildfire, spreading like the wildfires right here in California. Yes, I think that narcissism is like that it's rampant, that it's growing, that we are raising generations of new narcissists with personality disorders who are incapable of feeling compassion or empathy or guilt or remorse. They're entitled, they're grandiose, they're arrogant, they're self-centered, and they're empty inside. They're devoid of a kind of secure identity that's egocentric, that is healthy, that is vibrant and life-affirming, and instead they behave in ways that are self-sabotaging and disrespectfully disrespecting themselves and lacking intimacy. And, you know, if you're gonna do that, just hook up for, I don't know, kicks and grins, for the chase, for the conquest, for the power, that's kind of narcissistic, isn't it? Kind of somatic narcissistic. I think it is. And so, you know, women have always flaunted their power. I know that I certainly have. You know, when I was younger, I went horseback riding one time, topless, just to get a rise out of the people that I was with. I did the streaking through the school cafeteria with the ski mask. I took my clothes off, you know, took my shirt off at concerts and was topless in the crowd, hooty hoo, and, you know, went to Mardi Gras and woo, you know, and even at my age, as an old woman, I'm still wearing a two-piece. So obviously, I have learned through necessity, I guess, to leverage my body and my looks to get attention or to get what I want or to get something, you know, because it's always worked for me. Still does, even though I'm super old. But I want to say that, you know, that's not good. I'm not saying that I'm proud of that or that that's a great thing to do. I'm saying that it was a pressure that I succumbed to just do that. It was part rebellious, part back in your face, like, hey, you know, you men, you want to objectify me? Look at this. You can't have it, you know, or whatever, you know. I think that I used it as a power play to give myself an advantage for leverage in whatever situation. And I think women are still doing that, tremendously so, and that they're using their bodies in very self-destructive, demoralizing kinds of ways. And they shouldn't be, you know. I think that intimacy, I still think that that's what makes us human and that that's the end goal. I know that my person with NPD that I was married to for 16 years found the boundaries and confines of marriage to be extremely stifling and hard for him to, you know, I think he was bored being married with the same person all the time. But for me, I think I understood the intimacy that I enjoyed with him and felt like, you know, we had achieved a level of something that, you know, I was out of my mind. It was a fantasy. It was a shared neurosis, shared psychosis. It was delusional of both of us in that shared fantasy, because that's what happens in relationships with people with NPD. You have this mutually delusional, magical thinking kind of relationship. So anyway, you know, yeah, I thought that I had intimacy, but I didn't. He was faking it, you know, and mirroring me and all of that, and it wasn't real. But if it had been real, let's just think about that for a second. What I wanted was a long-term, monogamous, for life, forever love. You know, you hear about people being your lobster. There's a plenty of monogamous, one mate only animals in this world. I think wolves are one of them, and I love wolves very much. And octopus, very smart, very monogamous, and I love octopus. And so ultimately, I think that what we're going for here is longevity, and subsequently the kind of things that result from longevity. You know, when you're with the same person and you build a relationship and you've seen all the different sides of a person and you've stuck with them through thick and thin, there's a whole different kind of intimacy that is wonderful. That kind of connection, that kind of intimacy is what we should be going for. I remember my person with NPD just like in the weeks before he discarded me. And I think he already knew he was probably leaving. And just in the weeks before, he would stand there and watch me in the shower, and I would say, go away, you know? It was like, don't do that. And he would say, I'm your husband. It's okay. You can show me anything. I love you. I'm your husband. He would say that to me. And looking back on that, it was really creepy that he would say that, and then within a couple of weeks, he would just be gone. It proves that you know, he's mentally unwell. But it also proves that the intimacy that you think that you have maybe sometimes isn't. So in conclusion, women who objectify themselves by trying to be seductive and morally ambiguous, shall we say, or immoral or amoral or whatever, are shooting themselves in the foot and all their other body parts too that matter, because that's not what we're trying to do, guys. We're trying to achieve a kind of relationship that has intimacy, where we can build a life with another human being and thrive under those conditions. And so the message here is that yes, narcissism is growing. Yes, women are taking the wrong path here to empowerment and liberation and freedom. It is not the right path. It's going straight over a cliff, and that we need to strive not to just go out there and go through as many partners as we can for the fun of it, because we can. We need to find the one and then stick with them and develop that kind of intimacy that lasts forever, just like a wolf or an octopus or a lobster. Lobsters do that too. Oh my gosh. And so yeah, I thought my husband was my lobster and that was my forever octopus, but he wasn't, because he was unwell, dysregulated, disordered, mentally sick because of the cluster B disorder. So we must move forward with people who are healthy and keep our self-respect and our morality and ethics intact, and be on the outlook. Red flags for narcissists. Okay, guys, thank you, and I will see you again next time from sunny California. Bye.